Hi all and welcome back. After a long time I decided to release a new video on this channel. First I would like to point out that I used AI reading for this video and the original text is translated from Czech. So please forgive any mistakes in translation. The video also contains spoilers for Loki's finale. The topic I'd like to bring up is the second season of Loki and the big mistake the creators made. What is it? Loki and Sylvie's relationship is very much neglected and sidelined in the continuation of Loki's journey. Even though Loki's feelings for Sylvie are very crucial to the rest of the plot, their relationship with each other is very underutilized. But let's go back to the beginning. In the first series, the story focuses on Loki and his gradual development, of which Sylvie is a big part. When I first saw the first series, I had no idea what to expect from the story, but in the end I was thrilled with what the creators came up with. The fact that we got to see Loki in a way we've never seen him before. The fact that Sylvie showed up on the scene and gradually the enemies became a match made in heaven. Finally, neither one of them was alone and they could work things out together. That seemed to be the message the creators were going to stick to. Or not. The first season had one crucial thing: it had soul. The creators focused mainly on the characters, on their growth, on emotions, on details, on the play of colors in each scene. It was a joy to watch. And then there's the sequel. Yes, the second series is brilliant at first glance. Great acting, visuals, music, epic finale. Yeah, it's beautiful at first, and I can understand so much excitement and ovations about how great it is. But when I look at the first series and compare it to the second, there are so many details missing, so many things left unsaid and unspoken. At what point did a show that was about two people and their journey become a show about one person? What happened to
Loki? I don't even know if this is gonna work.
You go, I go.
Maybe we could figure it out together.
Maybe.
Where did all this go? 2 years of waiting. 2 years is a long time. A lot of fans have made their own ideas for sequel, fan fictions, fan arts or ideas in their minds. And then it came. I have to say, before the series started, I was extremely excited for the sequel. I even went to a preview screening at the cinema where I was able to see the first 2 episodes in advance. But that's also probably the only really happy memory I have of the second season. The elevator scene was like a big dose of hope, and Loki's search as well. But then, am I really supposed to believe that Loki would never once mention what happened between them? He was looking for her because he saw her in the future, saw that she was happy to see him, and then he tells her,
I know I'm the last person you want to see.
Correct.
Why? Why would he start their whole conversation in such a negative way? And it didn't get any better afterwards, either. When a moment brought a little hope, the sequel stomped that hope back into the ground. For the most part, all we could see were Loki's tormented and longing looks as he looked at Sylvie. And a man who looks at a woman like that wouldn't actually try it at least once. Talk about them, after everything that happened and everything he did to find her. My enthusiasm lasted exactly an episode and a half. When the McDonald's scene came on and Loki and Sylvie were talking in the parking lot, something broke. Even there, I was like, wait, something's not right. And I didn't even know which way it was going to go. I don't want to say I didn't like the other episodes. But the scenes between Loki and Sylvie made me more and more confused. The constant talk about the TVA, Loki trying to explain to her that there was a problem, but in such a way that Sylvie didn't really know what he wanted her to do. So many words, so many attempts, but nothing was about them. Frustration and mutual misunderstanding only deepened the gap between them. And why? The filmmakers gave us anxiety, and in return, more and more anxiety. They're both sad, they're both confused. Loki thinks Sylvie doesn't want him in her new life, and Sylvie thinks Loki just wants to save TVA, and she doesn't even fall into his friend category. It's sad to watch. Loki gets the occasional laugh in a scene, but you can't say he's been happy all season. He's constantly dealing with things, he's constantly sad, and as a viewer I was hoping there was a reason for that. That after so much sadness, there just has to be something more. Oh, how wrong I was. Did you know that Marvel has released an official novelization of the first season? Yes. And there are ideas in it that you can only see from the characters' perspectives in the series. Loki falls in love with Sylvie during their journey, but doesn't know how to express his feelings to her. It's new to him, it's something he's never experienced before. And then there's the finale, their first big argument, but also their first kiss and Sylvie pushing Loki out of the way. It's understandable that their feelings are stirred, that they both feel betrayed and hurt in some way. That's exactly what their first scenes, their first debates, would correspond to. And I, as a viewer, expected that there was a reason for that it would clear up over time and make sense in the finale itself. But that didn't happen, and I understand this decision less and less. I had hope all 4 episodes, and then came the 5th episode. I was hoping that we would finally see a conversation that would have real meaning for Loki and Sylvie's relationship. But all we got was another scene where they were both afraid to say, "I care about you." Yeah. The finale showed us that losing Sylvie was very painful for Loki, and in order to get her back he learned to control the time slip. It was great, it had power because Loki's feelings for her are strong. But does she know that too? Did Sylvie know, even for a moment, that she was his, who? His clue in space and time. The observant viewer can see that. But it's still pretty unclear for her. Based on her other behavior, I think she just didn't know. And she needed to hear it. And he needed to say it. Eric Martin, head writer, confirmed in an interview with Script Magazine that the 5th episode was originally a completely different story. That it was an episode that everyone liked, but it was thrown away, and he had to rewrite the entire script in a weekend. While there are no details in the interview, the rumors are spreading. Rumors about how this episode would be a turning point for Loki and Sylvie's relationship. Unfortunately, we may never know if that was true. This twist would have probably changed the entire 6th episode as well. You may ask why, and there are many theories, speculations about it. I guess I'll give you 2. The first is that the creators wanted Loki to handle things on his own. To sacrifice himself for greater effect. An epic finale for the mainstream, primarily male audience. To make it all about him this time. Because if he and Sylvie had started to work things out, she probably would have kept him company and they would have worked things out together, just like before. She might even want to go to the end of time with him. Resolving their feelings for each other would be a complication to that plan. Unfortunately, this is wish fulfillment for all the disgruntled fans who complained about how much space Sylvie had in the plot of the first season. Of course she did. She was the main female character and they were the main couple. There was no question of whether or not they should continue together. It made perfect sense for their journey to be together. Unfortunately, the voice of hate is strong and that's very sad. The second reason is a bit more darker and ties in with the problem with disgruntled fans who had a problem with Loki and Sylvie being a couple. Marvel could have thrown a wrench in the whole situation and backed away from that plan, purely because they were afraid of the backlash. It's quite a paradox because the first season was literally full of their scenes, and in the overall view of the audience, the story is perceived very well, even with the romantic line. Was this major change necessary then? Perhaps a better explanation of what the term variant actually is would have sufficed instead. That these people are not related, they don't have the same DNA, and it's just the same role in their world. Or does anyone really think that Loki the Tom-faced has the same DNA as the alligator Loki? It's nonsense. The fact that the same actor is used for more variants is more likely the fault of Marvel, who are aiding this misunderstanding. Even in the book for the first series, it is clearly stated that Loki and Sylvie are two separate beings. So why wouldn't a romantic relationship be possible? Maybe it's just a lack of courage. Marvel had the first really interesting and original couple, so this is a very missed opportunity from my perspective. The finale could still have been very epic, and possibly even more so if the relationship between Loki and Sylvie had been deepened and they had been allowed to at least say goodbye properly. As it is, their love remains mostly in the subtext of the scenes, in the glances and in the hints. But is that enough? Silky's fans see all this. But does the average viewer see it too? A friend of mine who watched the series and was more or less a neutral viewer told me that she felt like Loki and Sylvie's relationship was closed, that they realized it can't work, and each went their separate ways. That's probably how most viewers who didn't think about it deeply felt. Even so, Loki's love for Sylvie is crucial here, and it's the main reason he does what he does. That's why it's utterly incomprehensible how much anything that could move them anywhere is suppressed here. And fans are noticing this, those who like to dig into the details. There have been a number of interviews since the series ended. Kevin Wright said a few things in an interview with Collider, and I'll quote some passages.
I would disagree with the assessment that we downplayed the relationship. They may not be stopping to kiss. Everything is driven because of the deep emotions that these two people have for one another. I think it felt natural, and more realistic, and messy, and I think that was our thing, is like real relationships are messy. And we wanted to do that and not force something that felt inauthentic just to like service fan dreams of seeing these two happy together. They both need a lot of personal work to get to a place where they could have a good relationship.
But was that the real intention, or are these excuses to give fans relief? As the saying goes, after the war, everyone is a general, but a few words in an article won't help the series be perceived that way from a global perspective. For the story of Loki and Sylvie to be seen as what pulled the series forward. I think Loki and Sylvie deserved so much more. And Loki is a standalone character as well. I naively believed that he was given another chance in the story to end well, for once, so he could finally have his happy ending. You might argue that after all the bad he's done, what happiness he doesn't deserve. But I don't think so. It really pained me to see him struggle the whole series. How he is shown in the very finale to have been caught in an endless loop where he just kept solving a problem over and over again that turned out to be pointless in the end. So much time and energy was devoted to fixing Temporal Loom, and in the end it was for nothing. Is there any point in saying how strange it is that no one thought of this in hundreds of years? Ob and Victor were presented there as talented scientists, and they really didn't think of this even once. That's odd at the very least, but that's not what this video is about. The bottom line is that a lot of time was spent on things that ultimately didn't matter and very little time on what actually did matter. Loki and Sylvie had many scenes, but the dialogue didn't play into their hands at all. And another very bad thing was how the writers worked with the character of Sylvie. Her behavior was often repetitive, she was annoying to many viewers, and it was like they didn't know what to do with her. The most interesting moment was when she spared Victor's life. But what's next? Many scenes would have played out the same way without her presence, and that's a big problem. How did it happen that the main character became a character that feels kind of out of place in the plot? Yet Sylvie has incredible potential. She too is a goddess, her magic is unusual and she could show incredible things. Instead, the script just allowed her to be stubborn and not understand most of the context because they didn't allow her to really be a part of what was going on. The change of filmmakers, the change of direction, all played into this, and it wasn't always to the benefit. Sofia Di Martino is a very talented actress who managed to bring Sylvie to life. She really deserved to be a part of it all. She deserved to still be the main character, and I'm sorry she was left out, just like Loki and Sylvie's relationship. And the handling of the other female characters was odd at the very least. It was like they were only fit for a few moments and then again they didn't know what to do with them. And what's even sadder to me, most men don't see this at all. Maybe they just find it okay that men are in the lead here. I really don't know. But what I do know is that Sylvie, who pruned herself just to maybe get to Loki in the void, even though it could mean certain death, this Sylvie would never let things go. She would never let Loki be on his own, to end up alone. Unfortunately, there are a lot of those moments where the character's behavior goes beyond the first series and could have been handled in a completely different way. This series means a lot to me. I love a lot of things about this series, but at the same time I'm disappointed in this one. I'm proud of Loki for doing such a great and selfless act. But I still hope this isn't the end. There are still more movies and maybe even series to come. But I'm afraid to have hope, to hope that there is a happy ending for them both. Marvel for me isn't just epic scenes, amazing fights and spectacular CGI. No, it's the stories for me, but more importantly the characters and their journey that I care about. But real relationships and feelings are still very unhappily presented here. A character doesn't have to have family, friends and love just to have someone to fight for and sacrifice for. What's the point if every love ends unhappily? If one of the couple dies or sacrifices themselves? This isn't the least bit realistic and it's actually pretty sad. I also want to see endings that may be cliched, but are just satisfying. I want to see characters who are happy and not just characters who are chasing heroism until their last breath. I don't want to turn Marvel into a soap opera, not in the slightest. But I can't feel good when I see that characters I like, characters I might even identify with in some ways, are just unhappy. I can't be happy about that. There are still a lot of unresolved issues. I'm sure I've forgotten to mention a lot of others. But the main thing is, we all know that they're most powerful together and would be happiest together. But thanks to the new season, we also know that hope is hard. And it looks like it's hard enough for Silky fans right now. We'll have to hope and we'll have to wait. Again. If you have watched the video up to this point, thank you for that. I've been wanting to do this video for a while and now the time has come. This is just my personal opinion and thoughts that I have from the last few days. I certainly don't want to criticize the work of Marvel and the team that worked on the Loki series. I just needed to say out loud that some decisions just seem unfortunate to me. Thanks for watching and maybe see you again with the next video. Bye.